I started my fundraising career with an organization that was helping orphans all over the world, but we had no headquarters. We were all remote. And this is back before, long before the pandemic. This is back in the early 2000s. We had no headquarters and we had a national database and we were doing international ministry. We weren't supporting anyone in the United States. So how did I tackle that? Well, I had to find hotspots of support throughout the country. So as I analyzed our database, I was able to identify that in Scottsdale, Arizona, we had a little group of donors who lived there. In Orange County, California, we had a little group of supporters who lived there. Denver, Colorado, we had another group. So what I did was I contacted them and said, could we reach out to other people in your community? Would you be willing to help me organize an event there? And that's the way we tackled it. In Scottsdale, in Denver, in Orange County, I looked for hotspots of support and then anchored the event in those communities. So that's one way to do it, Neil. Another way to do it is the same way that Allies has done it. Because remember, I've been chatting with you about Allies and youth development. They started in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but in the beginning weren't helping anyone in the United States. It was all Eastern Europe and Asia. And all they had were a few contacts in their church. So they started with their church to build this ministry. And they've now branched out and have donors all over the country, but they had to start somewhere. So they started with just a handful of people that they knew where they had their offices. So I'm wondering, Neil, if as you're thinking about your ministry, if there's certain areas where you've got groups of supporters.
Yes, there would be.
So that's where I would start. I would think in your case about a particular donor or supporter who's very enthusiastic about the ministry. Maybe she lives in Orlando. And I would just call her and say, hey, Brenda, we want to grow our base of support. We've identified Orlando as an area where we think we can resonate with donors. Would you help us put together a gathering there? We'll do all the legwork. We just need your wisdom along the way to make sure we're choosing the right venue and the right day of the week and inviting the right group of people. So that's the way I would go about it, Neil.